I got to tell you, at this point, I'm honestly shocked. Considering this happened back in 2012, why wasn't it bigger news that the Yorks sold ownership to Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks? Because I feel like we should have got that memo.
Yeah, it seems like he's been the owner for this team ever since he got that starting gig in Seattle. We mentioned it. We mentioned it right at the end of our previous video. The record didn't matter here. The fact that Seattle had 3 wins, it doesn't matter that their season is basically over. If there was one game that they were going to get up for, if there was one scenario that they were going to get up for, it was going to be for this exact game and try to put a wrench into the playoff hopes of the San Francisco 49ers. And guess what? Russell Wilson and company and Pete Carroll, who might be coaching his last season in Seattle, he wasn't going to leave without, putting a wrench into our playoff hopes just a little bit. It's Seattle, San Francisco. We've seen it for the past decade. And unless Russell Wilson leaves this offseason, it's going to continue to be that way. A tough one to lose, but we'll go into what exactly happened here.
Yeah, let's start off by the fact that you could tell it's going to be a very ominous day because literally on the first play of the game, Trenton Cannon, prayers up to Trenton Cannon out there. He's hospitalized. He gets taken out. Supposed to be a major concussion. So far, no news on if it's a neck injury, a spinal injury. Let's hope not, prayers up for Trent there. And then obviously just so much weirdness, Seattle in their first possession, we think, okay, we got a 3 and out. This drive is over. And then they bust out a 70-yard fake punt that goes to the house. Jimmy has a bad pick. Jimmy has another bad pick in this game. And obviously, let's speak forward here. We're both very strong Jimmy G supporters here. We think Jimmy G has been largely good for this team, largely beneficial for this team, but he did have, of course, some bad interceptions in this game that definitely cost them. The only thing that I guess you say for Jimmy's benefit here is obviously they were in a position to win that game at the very end. Some other highlights, obviously George Kittle, 186 yards, a huge day for George. He had that sick little walking the tightrope touchdown there that was very impressive. Good to see from big man tight end there. Special teams, man. Special teams was the killer today. I mentioned already the fake punt, but I just felt like there was so many times we just started so backed up. There was that one series in which we consistently were starting within our own 10-yard line. And of course, missed extra point there. There was just a lot of bad special teams play. In fact, this narrative started to come up in recent weeks because we started to see the special teams play become more noticeable as the offense has improved, as the defense has improved. Why does the special teams on this team always remain so shitty? Because I go back to our grading video and I'm pretty sure I gave them a flat F, right? Back then, and that was mid-season. Yeah, correct me if I'm right. But yeah, flat F, and I don't think I could get lower than F, but I want to give them a Z grade at this point because they're just playing terrible. They are just not setting up the other 2 facets of the game in a position to succeed. The fact the offense has to start behind so often has been causing jeopardy towards this team.
No, yeah, you mentioned it. It's not all on the special teams, but it certainly didn't help. Jimmy Garoppolo, you mentioned it. We're Jimmy Garoppolo fans, but those 2 picks were kind of ugly. It puts us in a pretty bad spot. The second pick where we're driving the ball down the field after, again, another drive that we're starting deep into our side of the field. And then he throws that pick, and then they obviously get what ended up being the game-winning score off of that turnover. But then the defense actually gave us a shot there. It was, they were actually getting kind of lit up there in that final Seattle drive. But the fact that, I think it was Eric Armstead actually who ended up actually getting his arm in there. I don't know. There was 3 different Niners who probably could have punched that ball out, and they ended up giving us a shot there at the end. And you never want to blame the refs for a loss, but how do you not call pass interference on that 3rd down on Trent Sherfield? How do you not call that? There was he got called for a legal block in the back off a George Kittle catch earlier in the drive. If you're going to, give that type of ticky-tack call on one side, give it to the other, because he had his hands all over him, his arms all over him. But again, you don't want, he was getting mugged from the moment that he got beat on that route. It's a short route. And then even when the ball got there, his hands were still all over him. Obviously you don't want to blame the refs. We put ourselves in that position, but the refs just have to make that call at that time. Other than that, I don't want to say that this is it's a bad loss. Obviously, you don't want to lose whenever you're already at 6-5, right? But to say that the season's over, or that just because we lost to Seattle, that there's really no hope for us moving forward, I think it's a complete opposite. We knew we were going to get Seattle's best effort, and we got it. Looking at the playoff standings, we're still in the 7th spot. We're the two teams that are right behind us is the Philadelphia Eagles and the Minnesota Vikings. And guess what? We have tiebreakers over both of them. So right now it's just executing a lot better. We're going to get healthier, hopefully, with Debo coming back within the next couple of weeks. Fred Warner, hopefully, coming back. We could touch on that as well a little bit. That Al-Shaair, I thought he had a pretty decent game.
Oh, yeah.
Stepping in for Fred.
Oh my gosh, that fumble at the end to keep Seattle from scoring. The fact that Azeez was right in the middle of that. In fact, I joked earlier in the game, did Josh Norman teach everyone the peanut punch? Because we actually had fumbles going around the yard here. And even though we didn't land on every single one of them, I was at least grateful that we're starting to see this team start to continue to force turnovers. It's still much needed. And shout out to K'Wan Williams on his interception too. The focus on that tip ball, because Gerald Everett was struggling to reel that one in, like almost like he was fishing, and it was just like that big mackerel that he just couldn't hold in. And K'Wan was there to pick it up for him. So yeah, I'll give the defense some love here. The offense didn't put him in good spots. The special teams didn't put him in good spots. Other than, of course, on the fake punt itself. Like, the defense stepped up and did, for the most part, a good job containing Russell Wilson. Of course, E-Man going down, that was a huge blow to the defense right there, because Lenore's not ready, folks. We know how bad Deontay Johnson is at this point. We know what Josh Norman is when he isn't forcing fumbles himself. We just have a problem whenever our guys can't get home. And a credit to the defensive line. They were getting home at one point. I believe they had finished with 4 sacks in this game. Nick Bosa, 12 sacks in 12 games. He had that huge forced fumble fumble, but like that huge sack that put him back there when they looked like they were obviously going to score. There was so many weird things throughout that game. Obviously, we also had a safety in there thrown in. Like I said, there was a missed extra point. There was the crazy interception, Bosa's sack. The game was all over the place from the early going. But the problem with the Seahawks, and we've known this for years, you just can't let them hang around. You let them hang around, they're going to beat you. And I just wish that we were able to just put games away against Seattle. If we could have gotten them 3 scores or something when we were in a position to do such, then that completely changes the construct of that game. Then we could be a little bit more conservative there. But no, credits to the offense for driving on that final drive there. That was huge. I mean, come on, a 99-yard drive to close things out. Too bad we couldn't cap it, because the refs decided to just cap us, because God bless. See, this is the first time in a while I've been legitimately pissed off about a non-call or a call, because it was just so obvious. It was right there in the face. And in fact, I was a little upset because even Tiki Barber and his co-host there didn't even acknowledge it. It was like, what are you doing, guys? Like, come on, you're not acknowledging that. You acknowledged the ticky-tackness of the holding call earlier in the drive on Laken Tomlinson, but you're not acknowledging that this guy legitimately got mugged from the start. I feel as though Sidney Jones had his wallet in his back pocket after the game. That's how bad of a mugging I think I saw on that play. It was disappointing, but again, good credit to you for looking on the bright side of things here, Jose. Glass half full. The loss to Seattle doesn't bury us, because if we said we lost to Seattle, that's the end of our season every season, we'd have a lot of ended seasons at this point. We'd have a lot of seasons that we wouldn't care about. And you would say probably Seattle has been the bane of our existence in terms of our success. They limit our success, which, again, we got to get a prayer circle for Russell Wilson leaving this division, man. We got to light those candles and get that going, because I don't even want him in the division. I don't want him in the conference. I know it's too early for him to retire, become a pop superstar with Sierra, get a little family band going there. But a man can dream. Just at least get him out of my conference. Go to Miami. Go to Las Vegas. Enjoy it. Las Vegas nightlife. Come on, Russ. Miami nightlife is better than Seattle. Sierra, come on. Sierra, I'm telling you, enjoy it.
I heard
Movies,
Sean Payton.
Music, shopping, like movies. There's so much going on out there compared to Seattle. Seattle, come on, what are you doing out there, right?
Also, I heard Sean Payton needs a quarterback too, right? Taysom Hill's not looking like a quarterback. Sean Payton might.
I'm gonna aim a little higher here. They
aim a little higher. Okay.
Aim for the skies. You'll end up in the stars. I'm going to aim for the skies here on where I want Russ to end up. Just, we'll deal with it in the Super Bowl, but please, Russ, I'm begging you, God, whoever's listening, whoever's out there, your humble servant. God.
And that's how we've been Niners fans basically our whole lives, right? Even all of our adult life, we've had to deal with Russell Wilson. And that's why whenever this game came up, even with us on our, what is it now? They broke our 4-game win streak. Three game win streak. We knew this game, it was not going to be a gimme. We knew that Seattle, with all the troubles that they've been having, and in the past month plus, with all the losses, we knew that they were going to get up for this game. We knew Russell Wilson wanted this one just as bad as any other game that he has left in a Seattle uniform. So
no Niners fan with a pulse or over the age of, 5, saw this game as a gimme. If you went into this game with a sense of confidence, then I don't know what Niners Seahawks rivalry. I don't even count, dude. I'm going to be honest. I don't even know if I could call this a rivalry anymore.
It can't be a rivalry if it's one lopsided, right?
Does a cockroach have a rivalry with a boot? Because that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry if some faithful find my comments disrespectful about it, but it's true. At this point, Russ is 16-4. I'm not great with numbers, but is that like an 800 winning percentage just off the top?
It's over 80%. Yeah.
Yeah. So just quantify that. And think about the only games that we've won in that stretch. What was it? The Nick Mullins game? Yeah. We won. I don't know. We won, of course, the big one there in 2019. I don't even remember the other two. I'm going to assume one of them had at least come during the Harbaugh administration, because
it had been early.
One of them had to.
Yeah, it had been early in his stint there in Seattle. And then that also brings a good point. This year, we're 1-4 in the division. That's not a good thing. We got swept by Arizona, and now we're officially swept by Seattle. The only lone win that we have, and the other win we could possibly even get now within the division is against the Rams. That's not a good look. That's not a good look at all. Even if we do end up making it to the playoffs, that's something that needs to be definitely talked about during the offseason. I hope with the front office, coaching staff, what do we need to do in the offseason to get better than our divisional opponents? Because going 1-4 at this point of the year, it's just put us in a hole. I mean, if you look at it, we're 6 losses and 4 of them and within the division. These division losses have just put us in a big hole here.
Yeah, none of the losses you would say in particular are bad losses in the sense of the opponents. Thankfully, at least the Colts have shown that they're a good team. At least we know what the Packers are. The rest of the division has been great. So there's at least a silver lining there, but I don't feel good about it. Obviously, you want to convert a few more of those into wins, especially when the games are there to be had, because this is another 1-score loss too for the Niners. The Niners have been in these games to the very end. Obviously, you could have put a coin flip on their ability to win the Packers game or to win the Colts game early on, but it's just disappointing because you had this game. It was right there to be had, and we let them off the hook. As the late, great Denny Green said, but they are who we thought they were, but we let them off the hook every single time. All right. Well, Cincinnati, we're on to Cincinnati. We're literally on to Cincinnati. Echo a little bit of the hoodie there. Cincinnati, they look bad in this game against the Chargers. The Niners might actually catch a break, because I don't know if you looked at Joe Burrow's hand on the Red Zone channel at one point. It looked a little bit swollen, his throwing hand. That's not too good. So
it looked swollen, and then after it got hit, he didn't look that well after that. So
yeah, the only question I have is who the hell's covering Jamar Chase?
I don't know.
He's going to cook Norman.
He's going to cook Norman and any other DB that we throw at him. I don't know.
It might be down to Deontay Johnson. Hopefully, if there's an injury, then I'm hoping for good health. Even if we don't get Debo back, I actually think E-Man is more important to the Niners injury report than Debo this week.
He might be, yeah.
Yeah, because I don't want the rookies out there. I think Shanahan and D'Amico Ryans are telling you what they think of the rookies at this point. They think they're not ready, and I don't think I saw anything in that game that made me think otherwise. So, and obviously we know what how is it Deontay Johnson still on this team? How speaking of cockroaches, he just never goes away.
I'm not too sure how he survived it. A lot of it has to do with the fact that we're just dwindling at this point when it comes to guys in the secondary. They're just dropping like flies. So I mean that has to do a lot with it. But I mean, at the same point, I'm like, can we not get like, is there not, there has to be somebody out there, right? In the waiver wire and someone's practice squad that we could bring in, but I guess not.
Now we lost Buster Screen a few weeks ago. So that's the best you can hope for on the waiver wire at this point. If you don't have corners coming out of the draft, you won't get corners going into week 14 here. So it is what it is, as they say. All right, Niners faithful. Well, let us know your thoughts on the game. I guess drop some grades on performances there if you're interested. Tell us what we need to do next week to win in Cincinnati. Leave a like on this video. At least helps us get out there to more Niners faithful. It sucks, honestly, that the loss videos do better than the win videos. Let's start changing that. If we get that win in Cincinnati next week, we want you to be back here next week in the comment section telling us go Niners. I'm putting that on you guys. I'm looking right into the camera and telling you guys, I'm giving you a mission. All right. Juju Talk Sports, Jose Carrell, 49 Reasons Listen, 2 right here. We will see you next time.